bit of TalkFCB and welcome back here to the channel, guys. Barcelona against Alaves tonight have taken one step closer to the La Liga title. As of right now, 3 more points, and once again, we are champions of Spain, even though we could win the title tomorrow. If Atletico now fail to beat Valencia, if they lose that game, we will be La Liga winners, thanks to Carles Aleñá and Luis Suárez on the night. It was a 2-0 victory. It was pretty comfortable in the end. In the second half, we certainly turned on a bit of style. So happy for Aleñá. We're going to be covering that in all the detail. Sit back and relax. Another win under our belt. But before we do kick off with the analysis, guys, there's one very important thing that I do have to mention, and that is a massive thank you to every single one of you. Every single one of you who come back week in, week out, all of these games thick and fast, and you come back and you watch the videos and you get involved. It is thanks to you that I have reached 150,000 subscribers on the channel. I'm thrilled with that, couldn't believe it. I'm going to be talking more and doing more, of course, to mark that milestone. I will be bringing you more updates on that as soon as possible. However, thank you all so much for the support. I really do appreciate it. And like I said, you guys coming back time and time again, you are the reason that I am where I am. Thank you so much. But if we kick off here with Ernesto Valverde's team selection, what I have to say on the night was a little bit surprising, given the fact that he did initiate some rotations in this Alaves game. Initially, of course, we were expecting him to go very strong in this game, win it, and then rotate very heavily in the game against Levante on Saturday. But he went with Ter Stegen in goal, Sergio Roberto here in the left-back slot in the first half. That's where he played there. Samuel Umtiti alongside Gerard Piqué, and Nelson Semedo here on the right-hand side. Busquets in midfield, Carles Aleñá here starting from the left instead of the right, Arturo Vidal alongside him, with Dembele from the right, Suarez down the middle, and Felipe Coutinho off to the left, which meant the likes of Messi, Alba, Longley, Artur, all of those players were on the bench starting this game, and that was a big surprise. And I have to say here, the left-backs, of course, in the second half, they switched over. Semedo came out to the left, Sergio Roberto down the right-hand side. But I also want to bring you, of course, our subs on the night, because the likes of Messi, Alba, and Artur all came on during this game, which makes that very interesting here, because yes, Valverde rotated in this game. We certainly saw some valuable rest for those players, but I just want to know the thoughts behind that. Was maybe Valverde trying to give Messi, Alba, Arthur a bit of rest, but also trying to keep that match sharpness, keep them involved, keep them playing, keep them ticking over, maybe involve them here if they're not going to play on the weekend on Saturday. If we are going to make big rotations, maybe Valverde here wanted to rest them just that bit more, but also keep that match sharpness in the process. It's going to be very interesting to see, I think, what Valverde does on Saturday, given the fact that already here, we already saw some rotations. Are we still going to see massive rotations now? We've got the win. We're going to have to wait and see. But on to the game itself, and I have to say, once again, coming into this game, we started very well. It was much like the weekend against Real Sociedad, where we did start on the front foot. We are pressing high, a lot of good energy from the players who were brought in this game. I thought Carles Aleñá and Vidal started really well in that midfield. It was two sort of very different kind of players, but they did complement each other quite well. Vidal doing all of the work, Aleñá there doing, of course, the magnificent stuff that we saw in the second half. We're going to be talking about that in a lot of detail further on in the video. But in that first half, there was some big early chances for Suarez, for Felipe Coutinho as well, cutting in from that left-hand side, getting a chance in front of goal, but Alaves were getting in the way of it. And in the first half, really, it was very scrappy. There were a lot of fouls. Alaves, of course, very desperate to try and get their points. The home fans were certainly behind them, getting on the referee's back. But overall, in that first half, there wasn't an awful lot to shout home about. There wasn't a lot of chances. There wasn't enough clear-cut chances, really, in that first half. And I think most of the time, we were getting a lot of space down the left-hand side, and Sergio Roberto was getting into some really good areas. But of course, every time he got the ball, every time he had that space on the left-hand side, in the good areas, he was on his weak foot. Every single time, it was a bad end product. It was a bad shot at the end of it, because he was always on that left foot. And I think that's why in the second half, Valverde changed it around. Semedo came out to the left, Roberto on the right, and then of course Roberto was involved in the goal that started it all off, that got us underway with Carles Aleñá. And I absolutely have to talk about that goal in a bit more detail, guys, and in particular, the role that Carles Aleñá, I feel, this season and going forward, that he can play in this Barcelona team, because I actually think here, we're looking at somebody and the kind of player that he is, the profile that he is, that is not like any other midfield that we currently have in our squad. He's not like any other player player in this kind of area here. Today he played from the left, often he does play from the right-hand side as well. That time he was able to sort of link up with Messi when he's out here, but obviously Messi wasn't playing from the start today. But Aleñá here, what he does is very, very good, because he's a very technical player. He can play on possession, he can link up with Busquets, he can link up with Vidal, and he can keep the tempo just ticking over there in the midfield. Much like Artur does, he can do that sort of job there, just keep it nice and calm. The Barcelona DNA shines through in Aleñá. But he can also do something very, very unique, and I think something that can help our team massively in this kind of area, and he can make those forward runs, and that's what it's all about here. He's somebody who can break this midfield, break those lines, and most importantly, drag defenders. What he'll do here is he'll make late runs into the area, he'll sort of bypass the defence here, and he'll almost go unnoticed. Like you saw there for the first goal, he's in this kind of area, Roberto pushing forward, it's a ball in towards the area, and the defenders there are so worried about Luis Suárez, he attracts all the attention of those defenders, and the midfielders then, with somebody who's going beyond them, they never like to do that. Midfielders never ever like late midfield runners, because they're so difficult to track, and they're very, very difficult to keep tabs on. Aleñá makes that movement. Suárez is very, very intelligent. He knows that he's there. He knows the kind of player Aleñá is. He puts in a trademark Suárez dummy, and then Aleñá is in behind. And that's what we don't really have from our midfield. We've been asking for Coutinho to play there. He's somebody who, as well, I think could make certainly attacking runs. But Aleñá has done it for Barcelona B. He scored a lot of goals in the Segunda Division, and certainly in the lower leagues, playing like this. And I think in the first team, we've seen him score already this season against Villarreal. That was a phenomenal goal. And again here today, we're seeing that quality. We're seeing something different. And I think even in the Champions League, we could sort of see somebody playing that kind of role, just causing really teams a different kind of problem. Because of course we can play passing football, we can pass it around in midfield, we can keep possession, we can of course unlock teams that way. But there's also another dimension here that Aleñá can bring if we choose to use it. And I think there could be very effective. And it wasn't just about the way Aleñá took the goal, very, very calm indeed, but it was also the celebration. He was so happy there to once again score in La Liga. Valverde putting good faith in Aleñá. That's what you want to see. Valverde himself was very, very happy when the goal went in. He was celebrating, and he very, very rarely does that. He never shows that much emotion, but he did there with Carles Aleñá. He also went over to the bench, Aleñá. He had his arm around Alba, he had his arm around Messi. Very, very happy they were to see him score. And also you notice, when Aleñá was taken off just a few minutes to go, he was given a fantastic ovation there by the Barcelona travelling fans. And also then, when he went off, Valverde actually approached him, which again, he very rarely does to players coming off. Usually, he just leaves them to go to the bench. But this time, Aleñá was taken off. He's going to the bench. Valverde went over to Aleñá, put his arm around him, and said a few words. I think there today, Aleñá, his stock is certainly rising. His part in this team is certainly becoming more and more influential. He's going to get more minutes as the season has gone on. He's grown and grown and grown, and he does genuinely have a combination with Messi. When Messi came on, they were linking up. Aleñá can pick the ball up deep. He can run with it. He can create space that way, and then play it to Messi. And I think he's the kind of player who Messi will really, really enjoy playing with. And I think alongside somebody like Arthur, those two together could be a magical combination. But of course tonight, it wasn't just Aleñá who got on the score sheet. Suárez also had his name on the list from the penalty spot, and it was a bit of confusion really. Originally, Gerard Piqué thought he'd score, but Umtiti was in an offside position when he actually tried to steal the goal from Gerard Piqué, which I'm sure that he will not be happy about. But Piqué had his goal ruled out. They then realised in VAR that it was actually a penalty kick. Pina moved his arm towards the ball in the build-up to that moment, and the penalty then was given for Luis Suárez. He stepped up, brilliant penalty. He scored all 5 of his penalties so far this season in La Liga. That was another one there in the bottom right-hand corner. The goalkeeper couldn't quite get there, and that there sealed our win over Alaves. And like I say right now, we're top of the league. We are now, as it stands, 12 points clear of Atletico Madrid. And if they lose to Valencia, like I say, tomorrow we will be champions, and that'll be absolutely massive. But what I want to know, guys, is what would you do now on Saturday? Now, you've seen some rotations today. You've seen Valverde bring on the likes of Messi, Alba, Artur. Would you now rest those players again on Saturday? Or do you think Valverde now is going to play a few of them? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Also, let me know your thoughts on Carles Aleñá's performance tonight, and in particular, that profile that he can give us in that midfield area. I'm excited to see what you guys are thinking. Thank you, as always, for joining me. And of course, that Liverpool game now is getting closer and closer and closer. And I can assure you, the videos will be coming up. They will be starting very, very soon indeed. Thanks as always, guys. I'll see you soon. But tonight, Barcelona well and truly continue their route to the La Liga title. We're very nearly there. So until next time, as always, Vasca el Barça.